good morning and welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoburi. On the program this week, we'll be looking at best approaches to corporate sustainability as lifeblood of business. Our guest this morning is Mr. OLUSEyi ABIODUN, ACIS Chairman, Oyo State Chapter of ICSAN. He is also Director, International Operations West and Central Africa for Tejas Networks. Good morning, Mr. ABIODUN.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on this platform.
All right, thank you for joining us. I also have right here Mr. Kayode Ketefe, who is Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketefe.
Good morning for me. Our dear listeners, good morning to you all.
All right, so before we move on, let's take this message. We'll be right back.
Hey, Obinna, good to see you. You look so worried. Is everything all right? I'm having serious issues in my company. Balancing the interests of my company's many stakeholders like shareholders, managed customers, financiers, government, and communities giving us a problem. That has to do with corporate governance. Exactly. Then you need to get in touch with ICSAN.
ICSAN?
Yeah, Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. They provide you with seasoned and top-ranking professionals trained to uphold the standards of corporate governance and efficient operations. You can also get in touch with
ICSAN.
If you want to become a Chartered Secretary and Administrator, contact
ICSAN
by visiting the website
www.icsan.org
or call 009 06 601 69.
ICSAN,
the hub of governance professionals.
ICSAN, definitely the hub of governance professionals. Mr. ABIODUN is still right here online with us, and we're looking at best approaches to corporate sustainability as lifeblood of business. Mr. ABIODUN, what does sustainability mean in relation to a going concern?
Well, thank you very much again for having me. Well, in looking at your question, there are two basic things that we need to understand here. One is the concern, and the other one is your question, sustainability.
Yes.
So, going concern, that word, it is an accounting term. Basically, for a company that has the needed resources to continue operating indefinitely until it provides evidence to the contrary. In other words, organizations, businesses are set up to continue to operate indefinitely. So now defining sustainability or explaining sustainability in relation to going concern, it basically means that the consumption of assets today will generate at least, look at that word, at least a sufficient replication of those or other assets, so that it will enable others to iterate such consumption in the foreseeable future. In other words, for an organization, for instance, you want to be able to iterate, you want to be able to replicate, the growth and development each and every as the year goes out. Basically, that is what sustainability in relation to going concern is all about.
All right. So why do you think many African companies, including in Nigeria, usually unsuccessfully with sustainability challenge?
Okay, that's a very good question, and I will try to use an analogy. For instance, you are trying to construct a building. Maybe the building is like 2, 3, or 4, or 4 floors or more than that, and you want the building to actually have some structural integrity. And basically, of course, you need to have some pillars, some beams upon which the building is going to be resting. So, in other words, for any organization to be able to, to be able to enjoy what we call sustainable growth or development, there are some 4 pillars that need, to be available. And those are the major pillars of corporate governance. One of them is accountability. The other one is fairness. The other one is transparency and independence. I'm talking about accountability.
Okay.
I mean, of course, you have the management of the company, you have the manager, which must be accountable to the board, and then you also have the board that must be accountable to the shareholder. And then the constitution of that board, too, must follow the requisite procedure. You want members of the board that have a very good and deep knowledge, deep understanding and capacity actually to set the strategic direction of that business. So that is very important. Another one is fairness. I mean, operations need to be feared. I mean, to be fair to all shareholders' rights. And then, unfortunately, in this climb, basically in Nigeria, we've seen organizations that actually started well, and over time, they have derailed from these main pillars of corporate governance. And then you also have transparency and independence. Basically, not being able to adhere strictly to these pillars of corporate governance, among others, are the basic challenge that businesses and corporations actually have in our climb here. And then also, there are some other principles of corporate governance which companies have over time found it very, very difficult to adhere to. What about adhering to, ethical practices, ethical standards? What about discharge of social responsibility and application of best management practices? These are part of the reasons why businesses or corporations in Nigeria and by extension Africa have actually have found it very difficult to replicate itself, to sustain itself over a long period of time. Basically, those are the challenges.
Okay, apart from some of these things you've mentioned, what do you think companies in Europe, United States, doing more to make them successful than the African counterparts in terms of sustainability?
Okay, thank you very much again. Taking a cue from the last question you asked just now,
yes.
In developed economy, in developed geographies like the United or countries in North America and Europe, you will discover that accountability, fairness, transparency, independence, fairness to whether some groups, organizations, or individuals are minority shareholders or not. Fairness to each and every member of the company is not taken, with lip service. Then, all of these things, they've been able to replicate, they've been able to do it over time. And then that has actually helped the corporations in these geographies to stand a test of time. Like I said earlier on, there are some 5 basic principles of corporate governance. Number 1, building a sustainable development for all the stakeholders is one of them. Okay. Discharge of social responsibility is one of them. Distributing and creation of wealth is also one of them. Applying the best management practices is also one of them. And then adhering to high ethical standards is also one of them. And the most important of them all is complying to the laws in true letter and in spirit. Look at that. Complying to the law in true letter and in spirit. You will see the corporations in Europe and in America, they don't take the issue of corporate governance.
All right. So drawing from some of these things you've mentioned, what benefits does this accrue to companies with high level of commitment to sustainability principles?
Oh, benefits. There are a lot of benefits that accrued. If a company actually have good disposition to these sustainability principles. Number 1, for instance, a corporation who adhere strictly to these sustainability principles will actually have better access to financing. Nobody wants to give a corporation, or nobody wants to borrow a corporation or invest in a corporation that does not adhere to ethical practices, that does not adhere to sustainable practices. Because I want my money to grow, I want my business to grow, I want my investment to grow. So better access to finance is one of the value proposition. Then another one is that Then access to cost of capital, low access to cost of capital, lowest cost of capital. For instance, you want to borrow now. By the time they do the risk analysis and they discover that, oh, this company, it's very open. The disclosure is fantastic. This company, have better ethical practices. What it translates is that it gives them the ability to be able to negotiate better, thereby reducing the interest on the borrowed capital. And at the end of that will also translate to increase bottom line at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So it's lower cost of capital. That is one of the value proposition. Then another most important thing that we need to look at, it reduce or probably remove the risk of corporate risk and the corporate scandal. When companies and corporations adhere to all of these practices, the tendency to be involved for the company to get enmeshed in corporate scandals is totally removed or to reduce the risk minimum.
All right.
Those are the few value, accrued value.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Seyi Abiodun, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Mr. Ketefe, some announcements this morning.
Thank you very much for me. Good morning once again, our dear listeners. Please listen attentively to the following announcements. ACISAN 2020 Public Lecture. The day is here at last. This is to remind ACISAN members and members of the public generally that ACISAN 2020 Public Lecture is coming up today, Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. The time is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. West Central African Time. That means you still have some time, but less than an hour for the group program to start. You can still register for the program and log in immediately to participate through a link that has been sent to you or which can be accessed on the Institute's website. The program is being held virtually through Zoom because of the restriction on mass gathering by the government. The theme of the public lecture is Micro, Small Scale and Medium Scale Enterprises During Uncertain Time. Is corporate governance a luxury or necessity? I take that again. The theme of the lecture is Micro, Small Scale and Medium Scale Enterprises During Uncertain Time. Is corporate governance a luxury or necessity? Experienced speakers and seasoned discussants have been lined up to add unusual depth to your knowledge on this theme, and you will be glad you participate. The program is free, but you need to register to participate. And you can still do that by 11 a.m. this morning. For further details, maybe before the program or even after, you can call on OGG on 080-237-83043. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kade Ketefe, Head Research, ICSAN, and also big thank you to Mr. Seyi Abiodun, ACIS Chairman, Oyo State Chapter of ICSAN, Director International Operations West and Central Africa for Tejas Networks, who's spoken with us on best approaches to corporate sustainability as lifeblood of business. Corporate Governance Platform returns next week, Wednesday, 10:15 a.m. right here on Equity 9.7 FM. I am Funmi Omoburiwo. Good morning.
Hey, Obinna, good to see you. You look so worried. Is everything all right? I'm having serious issues in my company. Balancing the interest of my company's many stakeholders like shareholders, management, customers, financiers, government, and community is giving us a problem. That has to do with corporate governance. Exactly. Then you need to get in touch with ICSAN. ICSAN? Yeah, Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. ICSAN. They provide you with seasoned and top-ranking professionals trained to uphold the standards of corporate governance and efficient operations. You can also get in touch with ICSAN if you want to become a chartered secretary and administrator. Contact ICSAN by visiting the website www.icsan.org or call 009 06 601 69. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.